No, I beg Chief. Madam Spice. And I not gonna kill me today. Madam Spice, now my turn. I beg Chief.
The midday sun beat down on the village market square, but the real heat wasn't from the sky. It was radiating from Madam Spice's legendary jollof pot. A towering cast-iron cauldron bubbled over an open fire, sending plumes of fragrant crimson steam into the air. The aroma alone could make a hungry man weep. Sweet tomatoes, fiery peppers, and a symphony of spices that whispered promises of pure joy. And the people? They were a tidal wave. Madam Spice, they chanted, waving empty plates like hungry vultures. Men in crisp agbadas, women with babies tied to their backs, children darting through legs, all jostling in a scattered, joyous queue. At the heart of it all stood Madam Spice herself, a formidable woman with a booming laugh and a gravity-defying crown of vibrant purple hair, stirring the immense pot with a paddle as tall as a man. Her jollof wasn't just food, it was an obsession. People traveled for days, ignoring their own wives' cooking, just for a taste. Among the most devoted of Madam Spice's customers was Chief Okoro. Every single day, after a long morning at the council, Chief Okoro would bypass his own opulent home where his dutiful wife Ayo had prepared a spread of equally delicious, or so she thought, meals. He would join the hungry masses, sometimes even pushing past younger men just to get his plate of Madam Spice's jollof. Ayo was a patient woman, but her patience was wearing thin. "My dear husband," she'd say, her voice as smooth as polished wood, "is my cooking not to your liking? Do my yams lack the sweetness you desire? Do my stews not sing on your tongue?" Chief Okoro would simply pat her hand, a sheepish grin on his face. "My flower, your cooking is a dream, a sweet, sweet dream. But Madam Spice, Madam Spice, her jollof is different. It has a spirit." Ayo bristled. A spirit? What kind of spirit made a respectable chief abandon his own kitchen? A seed of suspicion, sharp as a chili pepper, began to sprout in Ayo's heart. She decided she would uncover Madam Spice's secret, whatever it took. Ayo began to stalk Madam Spice. Not openly, of course. She disguised herself as a humble market seller, observing every move. She watched Madam Spice prepare her ingredients, the freshest tomatoes, the ripest peppers, onions chopped with surgical precision. Nothing unusual. She watched her tend the fire, stir the pot, serve the hungry crowds. Still nothing. One stifling afternoon, as the crowd thinned and Madam Spice began to pack up, she saw it. Madam Spice, believing herself alone, took a small, ornate wooden comb from her apron pocket. She began to carefully comb her magnificent purple hair. Ayo watched, transfixed, as Madam Spice then collected a few strands of the vibrant purple hair that had come loose, held them carefully in her palm, and then, with a sly glance around, dipped them into a small terracotta bowl of water. She swirled the water, the purple strands dissolving, tinting the liquid a faint, almost invisible lavender hue. Then, with a sly smile, she poured this water, the very essence of her purple hair, into a small bottle, which she then carefully poured into the large empty jollof pot, swishing it around before adding fresh ingredients for the next day's cooking. Ayo gasped, stifling a scream. Hair? She used her hair? The spirit in the jollof wasn't magic or spice. It was a part of Madam Spice herself. A shiver of revulsion mixed with a thrill of triumph ran down Ayo. Ayo wasted no time. She ran straight to Chief Okoro, breathless, indignant. "Husband, I have discovered the truth, the secret of Madam Spice's jollof. It is unspeakable." She recounted everything she had seen, her voice trembling with disgust. Chief Okoro's face, usually calm, contorted in a mixture of horror and betrayal. His beloved jollof, laced with hair. The thought made his stomach churn. He quickly called an emergency village council. The news spread like wildfire. The once adoring crowd turned into a furious mob. "Hair in our food! She has defiled us! Witchcraft! When the police arrived, they found Madam Spice still by her now cold pot, her purple hair still magnificent, her face serene. She made no attempt to run, no attempt to deny. The evidence was presented: the purple-tinged bottle, the remnants of hair in the pot. The villagers screamed for her arrest. "Hand her over! She's a fraud! She's a witch!" The police, grim-faced, approached Madam Spice. Madam Spice raised her hand, silencing the mob. Her voice, though calm, resonated with a power that quieted the furious crowd. "You call me a witch? You call me a fraud?" She looked at Chief Okoro, her eyes sharp. "Did my jollof not bring you joy? Did it not make your burdens lighter, your steps livelier?" She continued, "My hair is my strength. It holds the memories of my ancestors, the fire of my spirit. When I washed it and added that water to my pot, I was not defiling your food. I was giving you a piece of myself, my passion, my very essence, so that my food would truly nourish not just your body, but your soul." Chief Okoro then pointed to the now empty pot. "You ate it every day. You abandoned your own homes, your wives, your duties for my jollof. You celebrated its spirit when you didn't know its source. But now that you know, suddenly it is repulsive. Suddenly it is witchcraft." She looked around at the faces now conflicted. "You loved the taste, but you hate the truth. You wanted the magic, but not the price. You condemned me for giving too much of myself, while you took freely and never questioned." The police, seeing the shift in the crowd's mood, hesitated. Madam Spice was not charged with a crime, but the secret was out. The spell was broken. The next day, Madam Spice's pot stood cold and empty in the market square. No crowds, no chants. The aroma of her jollof was gone, replaced by the bitter scent of judgment. Chief Okoro, a hollow ache in his stomach, sat at home picking half-heartedly at Ayo's beautifully prepared, but now utterly bland meal. He had learnt a harsh lesson. Sometimes the things we crave most intensely come from sources we would rather not acknowledge, and once the illusion is shattered, even the sweetest taste can turn to ash. The villagers went back to their own cooking, but a part of the joy, a part of the spirit had vanished from their lives forever. They had gained cleanliness, but lost the magic.